Well, let's bring you all the latest updates in the Supreme Court's hearing of the fight between the centre and the Delhi government over the allocation of oxygen. The centre has said that Delhi received 730 metric ton of oxygen yesterday following the Supreme Court order. But it also has gone on to add that the Delhi government is yet to distribute the oxygen that has been supplied by the centre. The centre has accused the Delhi government of not emptying expeditiously oxygen tankers, and it's blamed the Delhi government yet again for the crisis. In fact, this has become almost a routine feature now, both in the Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court, regarding the oxygen crisis, where the Delhi government and the Supreme Court have been accusing each other of mismanagement. The Supreme Court has expressed concern once again over the Delhi government and the Delhi hospitals, in fact, sending SOSs over the oxygen crunch. Minakshi joins us for more on this. Minakshi, just first of all, the Delhi government has been complaining about a shortage of oxygen, and the Supreme Court had made it very clear to the centre that by 10:30 this morning they had to supply a certain amount of oxygen to the state. First of all, has the centre complied with that? And if so, what is happening now in the court regarding its management and distribution?
Well, in such hearings, what we see is a lot of back and forth exchanges of ideas and also counter opinions and opinions. And those are the aspects that are being dwelled upon as we speak. The hearing is very much underway. We have the top law officer for the Government of India, the solicitor, informing the Supreme Court of all details. And the big takeaway from all that has transpired thus far is as follows. The Government of India has informed the Supreme Court that as per its own internal survey of all major 56 hospitals of Delhi, their storage tanks are 40 to 58% full as of today at 10 a.m. So this is a very significant submission being made by the central government. Government is also informing the Supreme Court that it has gone ahead and allocated the demand which was placed forth by Delhi, which is a supply of 730 metric tons of oxygen has been supplied by the central government to the Delhi government. But the problem, according to the central government, is this, that this allocated oxygen is not being distributed or emptied from the tankers expeditiously, which is coming in the way of future supply. Central government is also telling the Supreme Court that this excess demand of Delhi is way more as per government's own survey, central government's own internal survey of demand, and this demand is being met at the orders of the Supreme Court at the cost of supply to other states. So that's another significant submission being made. And like you rightly mentioned, again, we are seeing this play out. Central government pointing fingers to Delhi government, saying that the emptying of tankers or the lack of emptying of tankers expeditiously is one reason for the delay. The delay has not been caused as a result of lack of allocation on the central government's part. As we speak, there's been another significant development, which is this, Aarti, that the Supreme Court is asking for the central government to have a relook or revamp its allocation policy altogether, pan-India. Supreme Court is of the opinion that we are going to be entering, perhaps as per expert opinion, stage 3 of the pandemic anytime in the foreseeable future, and preparedness has to be there. Therefore, the government has to have a relook or a revamp of its allocation of oxygen policy pan-India. And that apart, the Supreme Court is also telling the government that it is not just about allocation of oxygen, it is also about distribution of oxygen to each and every hospital. So the big news, how the central government is telling the Supreme Court, as per its own internal survey, the storage tanks of all 50 plus major hospitals in Delhi are about 40 to 50% full of oxygen.
Yeah, Minakshi, just taking forward on that point that you were mentioning, the centre, of course, accusing the Delhi government of not using the existing supplies judiciously. One of the points that have come up in the hearing yesterday and today as well has been the question of an oxygen audit.
Yes, that is significant, and that is something that the central government is again reiterating before the Supreme Court. Hugely interesting. We saw this proposition being floated by the central government for the first time yesterday, where before the Supreme Court, the central government has sought for a oxygen audit, especially with regards to Delhi NCR. And today, again, the solicitor has demanded and underlined the need for an oxygen audit, especially for Delhi NCR. The Supreme Court is adding to that, and Honorable Justice D.Y. Chandrachud's bench is going on to state, and I quote, we need to look at this pan-India basis. We need to do an oxygen audit, and what is the accountability when stocks are redistributed? We are not today in stage one of the pandemic. Then again, the Supreme Court goes on to add to the government as to how, and I quote, your formula needs a relook. When you prepare the formula, not everybody who went to ICU needed oxygen, but now many home isolation patients also need oxygen. Your formula does not take into account ambulances, COVID care facilities, etc., unquote. So the central government is underlining and demanding and reiterating the need for an oxygen audit, especially for Delhi NCR, given the fact that the government finds there is a lot of discrepancy between the claims made for a lack of oxygen and the allocated amount of oxygen reaching Delhi. But surely there exists some gap, as a result of which this oxygen is not being expeditiously or distributed. Supreme Court reminding the centre that it is not just about allocation, it has to be about distribution of the allocated oxygen as well. At the same time, Supreme Court also discussing, remember, these are discussions which are taking place right now. It will take shape and form of an order in a short while. But the Supreme Court is looking at the prospect of a pan-India audit for oxygen, saying that we could be very well heading into stage 3 of the pandemic. So whatever policies the government formulated with regards to the allocation policy was pertaining to when we were in stage 1 of the pandemic. So essentially, Supreme Court saying that a plan for roadmap ahead also has to be thought over by the government of India.
Okay, Minakshi, thanks so much for that. We'll come back to you for more on what is transpiring in the Supreme Court, and we'll come back to you, in fact, for a short while for updates also on the case regarding the Election Commission, also crucial order coming in from the Supreme Court. We'll come back to you for both of that in just a bit.